Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about movies and we're talking about Gran Turismo, the movie. This was a movie that I got to see early. I saw it this week. I think it opens in the UK this Friday. So I thought it was a great opportunity to kind of post a review from a sim racer's perspective as opposed to just a pure cinephile's point of view. So this review will be based in sort of two halves. There'll be non-spoilers where I'll talk about what I liked from a sim racing point of view, what I liked about the movie, what we really enjoyed, and then I'll kind of go into spoilers and we'll sort of focus on some more the deeper elements of the movie. So I'll give you plenty of warning when we hit the spoiler section. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So this movie is based on a video game that actually I haven't driven a huge amount. So when I grew up in sort of gaming and playing video games, I was always more of the Forza team than the Polyphony and Gran Turismo team. But equally, I did get to play Gran Turismo Sport on the PlayStation 4, which I really enjoyed. I guess as a movie fan, seeing probably the only time we'll get to see a sim racing movie, I can't think of another opportunity where we will ever get to see a movie like this on the cinema. So for people that aren't into sim racing, aren't into Gran Turismo, let's give it a bit of background on what the movie's all about. So the movie was directed by Neil Blomkamp. And for me, this was quite an interesting movie. So I've seen a lot of his films, big fan of District 9, Chappie and Elysium. So for him to kind of launch this movie, quite an unusual spin for these type of films. When I saw the trailer for it at the cinema, it looked a bit bad. The trailers weren't great. The acting looked a bit wooden. But as it kind of got closer to launch and as the hype started to grow, I thought it was a good opportunity to go see it at the cinema. So yeah, it's actually in the end, his directing was excellent throughout the movie. So the premise for the movie is that a young sim racer called Jan Mardenborough, sim racer based out of Wales, has been passionately getting into Gran Turismo, obsessed with the game. He plays it night and day. The sim racing bug has absolutely grabbed him. He's really excited for it. But his family are a little bit sort of not supporting him of his journey, and they sort of see it as a, it's a geek thing that he's doing. It's a gaming thing. Why would he want to be doing that? And so in parallel to obviously his own personal Gran Turismo experience, the head of marketing at Nissan saw an opportunity to look at the untapped market of the sim racing community, to look at cars, and predominantly Nissan cars. And it's how he persuaded the sort of senior leaders at Nissan to kind of get into the space of bringing sim racers into the GT Academy, which is a great premise. What a great opportunity. Imagine that you're as I am, I race week in, week out on my racing rig. All of a sudden, you have the opportunity to race with the best sim racers in the world and the real racers driving a race car. I mean, just, it's absolute phenomenal story. So the whole story for me was fantastic. I really enjoyed the narrative. It's really well acted. The family dynamic is great. And to kind of go on that journey with Jan through that experience was really awesome. And I guess there were some interesting casting choices in there. I didn't realise that sort of Jerry Halliwell was going to be in the movie as his mum. And what was also great with this movie is to see sort of Orlando Bloom back, really. I mean, he was obviously massive with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but he hasn't been on mainline cinema for quite some time. And great to see him back in a movie, back in, high-octane action movie. And again, I'll talk a bit more about his character, but the premise is he persuades Nissan to do this, and the winner of the GT Academy gets a shot at trying to get an FIA license and effectively compete at Le Mans 24 and become a full-fledged GT racer. So that premise is just amazing. And I think for me, that whole story of starting with him in his sim racing room, the movie starts with him receiving a box of some sim racing hardware. And we've all had that. We've all unboxed our rim for the very first time and been so excited to get that kit and realize how much we love it. And the way they kind of interact, the seamless transition of the game into the movie was excellent. I mean, that whole opening scene, I was sat there with a big sort of smile on my face, loving every moment of that. Thinking, gosh, well, I'm sure we all think as sim racers have always that opportunity of how good could we race on track? If we were on track, could we do it? Have we actually got the skills to do it? For me, the track racing was just phenomenal. The way they handled that, it wasn't too sort of Michael Bay or Fast and the Furious way. There's cuts here all over the place. There was a lot of fast cutting, and it did jump between the car and the driver, but it always felt connected. It always felt real. And again, a big standout in this is David Harbour. So I'm a massive David Harbour fan. He was phenomenal in this movie, absolutely phenomenal. You totally buy into what he's trying to do, sort of his passion for it, and what he's trying to get out of these sim races. He's very honest with them. He said, look, you aren't going to be very good. You're not going to pass, and I'll be back doing my other job in a few weeks anyway. And as it progresses into the actual race itself, then again, that is just awesome. And I think without spoiling, not spoiling the movie, there was some great transitions of races. One of the races is featured in the trailer, which is at the Red Bull ring, a track that I absolutely love. It's a track that I've driven many times in iRacing, and I think it's a phenomenal track. So to sort of see that play out and the way they handle sort of gamification of that element of how, as he's racing and how you see his car in the race, where his position is in the race, how he handles the sort of the ideal line around that, just awesome, really. I think they did a great balance of handling the sort of the gaming perspective of his race and the race itself. So reaching out, a lot of people won't be sim racers, they won't understand what this is all about. They may be familiar with the game, they may have raced the game, but they're not hardcore simulation racers. It's a great movie. It's really well made. The production value is excellent. The sound design is phenomenal. The acting is really good on the whole. I think David Harbour is the absolute standout. I think he is phenomenal in this movie. He really is. Yeah, it's a great movie, and as a sim racer, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. So from a sim racer's perspective and from a cinema files perspective, how do I feel about the movie? So from a sim racer's point of view, it's hard not to give the movie a 9.5. I was in my element. I loved the references to Fanatec, CSL. Seeing the game played out on the big screen was just awesome, and I just thoroughly enjoyed learning about Jan's story. It wasn't a story that I knew a huge amount, but it was great. I think if you're not a sim racer and you look at the movie objectively, I think you'll score it less. I think it might be a sort of 7, maybe 7.5. I can see why somebody that isn't in sim racing wouldn't enjoy the movie, but I highly recommend it if you are, if you like great stories, if you like racing, if you like sim racing, if you like gaming, then I would absolutely check out this movie. It's a great time, and I think you won't be disappointed. So this is your spoiler warning. We're now going to talk about full spoilers. If there was a few nitpicks, if I was to be sort of super picky at it, there's probably not enough Gran Turismo in a Gran Turismo movie. Good, but there just wasn't enough. And I can totally see why they cut back some of the sim racing elements to make it accessible, but there could have been more for me. There could have been more Gran Turismo in a Gran Turismo movie. The other sort of complaints I had with the movie was kind of Orlando Bloom's character. So at the beginning, you really root for him. He's trying to, it sounds like he really cares about sim racers. He really cares about this demographic of getting them into Nissans and loving the Nissan brand and getting him into sort of GT racing. And then when we go to the academy and Jan isn't that great under camera, he's struggling to speak, and whether that was kind of over dramatized, I'm not sure. His character kind of goes a bit of a full 360. It's like, I don't want this kid, I want the kid that came second. It didn't seem to fit true with what he was trying to believe in. It just felt like all he cared was the marketing, but he didn't care about me. I don't know, it just didn't feel quite right for me, and it just felt like a bit of a sort of cheap character arc. And then later in the movie, he's all redemption, and he's excited for Jan, but didn't really buy that really. And I think Orlando Bloom was really underutilized in the movie. He was just there to stage the premise of GT Racing Academy and getting Jan into that, but there was no real arc for his character that I really cared about. David Harbour, definitely, the grumpy, disgruntled engineer, failed racer, becomes coach, sees kid do well and become a bona fide racer, was awesome. But Orlando Bloom's character, okay, but underutilized. They're kind of nitpicks in there, but on the whole, it's like I said before, it's a great movie. I'm sure you'll have a great time watching it. I wholeheartedly recommend it. As a sim racer, I came out with just a massive smile on my face. I've still been thinking about it now. I'll be watching the movie again. It was just brilliant. I can't wait to watch it again. And it, in a funny kind of way, it made me want to be faster in sim racing. It made me want to be braver. It wanted me to commit more. When I do the podcast with Joe Blogs about films, from a sort of a sim racers, non-sim racers point of view, I'll post that onto the channel as well. So that'd be a great narrative to pick this up with Joe around the movie when he watches it too. I do hope you enjoy it. I do hope you check out the movie. It's definitely worth watching at the cinema. If you're into sim racing, you'll love the movie. And yeah, I wholeheartedly check it out. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about sim racing and Lego. I'm a massive Lego fan. I'm also on Instagram with Chef Bricks if you want to check out my Lego journey there. But we're all about sim racing. We live stream every week with my kind of personal journey. But I'd love to have you on my journey as I continue to improve and continue to, maybe one day get into a racing car. So that's my review of Gran Turismo. I do hope you enjoyed the video. I do hope you check out the movie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.